Hey there. It's pretty late at night. Just wanted to. I've been posting articles, writing articles, and posting articles on Medium and sharing them here on Facebook and on here on LinkedIn. I wanted to be able to show some of the really cool outputs. So in the articles, I talked about how I had worked on a app, on an Android and iOS app around noise cancellation, and it only took 4 days to get it together, to get it running, and passed my alpha testing. And now I've picked up another project that's kind of interesting, and I'm going to transition over so you can see it. Now, what I should do, actually, I'm going to transition back, and I'm going to add the audio input capture is coming from, what I want it to come from from over here. I guess you can hear it, doesn't need to. Okay, so let's go back. So what I've done is I decided to spec out a virtual synthesizer that would live in a music production environment, or it would live as a standalone. What I'm going to demonstrate is the standalone that you can take on your MacBook, on your MacBook Pro, on your MacBook Air, on a tablet or whatever, and eventually it'll also have a Windows version that will also run on your Windows laptop, but it's also going to integrate with Logic Pro. It's going to integrate with Cubase, anything that will run a VST3 or an AU audio unit. Pardon me. And so I started off with this crazy idea of building something that had many multiple types of synthesis in a single unit, and so here I have this what they call legacy, which is essentially anything from old analog synthesis from like the 60s and 70s and 80s to something called neural, and neural's just a different kind of a sound generation process through this additive instead of subtractive, which is what old synthesizers are. This is an additive synthesizer. We have a physical modeler, and then something called a granular or a wavetable synthesis. And I've loaded up this wavetable synthesis. So we have our sound sources over here. We have our multi-effects units over here: chorus, flanger, delay, overdrive, and then a reverb. And then there's a series of demo presets that we put together, that myself and Claude and also Codex was helping with the compilation, because everything in this synthesizer is all in C++. And so put this thing together. It's been about a week and a half. This one's been significantly more complicated, complex, bigger project than the mobile applications were, and also because I'm not just building for one target. I'm building for a Mac audio workstation, a Windows. Wow. VST is universal now. Cubase also runs on Mac, so a VST module that will go into Cubase, and then the standalone that you're seeing right now. And so you can see, and I'm triggering it from my big ass keyboard that's sitting over here. So the idea is, and this is very much a prototype, is that each one of these windows is a visual into what parameters are able to modify or control the sound. So let's say I want to change this. It's right now I'm not using a legacy patch, I'm using a wavetable patch, but I should be able to do things here. And you can see it works actually fairly well. The idea behind this is that we're going to have this, I'm of course going to pretty it up. I'm going to make it a lot more intuitive and functional. And eventually this is going to be something that, with added tweaking and some additional synthesis upgrades, this could be I'm hoping that it's going to be something that will be very cutting edge, or at least it'll be very unique for its in the space. But as I said, so how did I use UI for this? I essentially put together a list of ideas that I had, which was the list of these individual types of sound synthesis sound sources. Started to put in specifications for each of these that either matched or exceeded what's in the physical keyboard market, which or in the soft synth market, and then iteratively went back and forth as we coded and modified this thing. It was the original prototype I had done about 2 or 3 days ago that was running, was simply just the keyboard and a blank window with just this, and as you can see, I have this AI randomizer that it will change. It will reference an AI agent or an AI modeler, and randomly select a bunch of parameters and the modules, and then essentially load the synth into this virtual synthesizer. Some of course, like whenever you randomize something, some of the patches are going to be absolutely useless. That last one was okay. This one's okay. This one's better. And all of this is, as you can see, there's my little coding assistant over here that helps to execute on the build and refactoring, essentially cleaning up garbage code from the files. There's a significant number of files here, and I'm referencing some libraries as well that's like over and above this. So this is actually, I think it's extremely cool. This is where I think a lot of the sort of partnership, this sort of assistance, companies, there'll be development leaders out there who play with it like I have, and immediately think that this is one step away from being able to reduce my operational overhead. As I said, this thing it is fairly complex. It took, but it only took a week and a half to go from just a bunch of essentially like scribbles in my head to get to this point. And of course, the refinements and all the step ups, everything that to step up is going to take a significant amount of work to be able to get to a stage of it being production ready, right? I got to look over here because this is where my microphone is. It's got a long ways to go before it's production ready, but it's also far further along than I could ever have hoped. So here's another feature, the tap tempo. So I can choose to do this, and what it does is it adjusts the length of time for the delay, the length of time of the reverb. It's if there's any repeats or any other, if there's even any synthesis sort of modulations using another oscillator to be able to create a pulsing pattern or whatever. I can use this to actually set the speed of that. But again, coming back to the whole idea, I would say yes, this is an incredible assistance for software development, for document development. It's crazy how good this stuff is, but it's not ready to take over the world, so to speak. It's and this is the consumer grade version, so of course they've probably got something in the lab that is already doing some damaging stuff. But this is actually pretty cool overall. Go from a really wild ass idea to be able to demonstrate it here, right? And in some regards, I mean, my workstation is my home studio as well. This could be usable for recording. There's a couple of glitches that I've found. Just if you try and play really quickly, it kind of overruns the buffer. But for the most part, this is ready to go. Anyways, let me transition back. The point is that like in some of the last two articles I made, is that as somebody who's looking for being productive, getting a job, earn a living in the tech industry, in any industry, what you really need to do is you need to also stretch out on your creativity. There was a YouTube video that I watched earlier today from a professor of math at Carnegie Mellon, who essentially one of the ways that he screens out students to come into his program is he keeps giving them math problems until they hit a point where they have not seen a problem like that before. Requiring multiple compound solutions, etc. And then he essentially watches and sees how creative they are about tearing apart the problem and building a custom solution novel for that individual to see if they can essentially break their way out of a wet paper bag. And that's what he mentioned. That's the kind of creativity that we're going to need to be able to thrive in a world of AI. AI can be simply a tool. It can also be a great collaborator, as I've been experiencing. I can throw ideas at it and say, well, what if this? And have Claude or Gemini or whatever come back and say, great idea, we can also do this. Essentially building off of its knowledge of the algorithm that does that, and some of the deeper, more recent work that's been done on those sets of libraries. So my encouragement is that you go and do what you can to build those skills. Learn your algorithms, learn your data structures, learn how to train models, learn all the practical procedural stuff, the tactical work, but then develop strategy that will use your creativity, use your ability to look at things, use that tangential way of thinking to be able to come up with novel ways of solving things. And that's where I think those people are going to excel, because they're able to put this out there and get that and get the benefit of that. Anyway, so if you have any comments, comment on the video. Thank you.